Ladies and gentlemen, if you can please take your seats, we'll begin very, very shortly. Please take your seats. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, if you could please get to your seats, we will begin very, very shortly.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. Oh, sorry about that. Good afternoon. If everyone can make it to their seats, we'll get started here. So welcome everybody to our 5th Hall of Fame ceremony. Welcome and congratulations to the 2025 inductees. Welcome to our past inductees, families, and friends. We are, again, very glad to have you all here and connect and reconnect with your fellow classmates, your fellow teammates, friends, and family. I think this is, for sure, our 2nd year in a row, maybe our 3rd year in a row where we have over 200 people here. I know we had 225 programs printed and we're out of the program, so it's a great event. We've got great momentum, and I'm glad to keep this going. And tomorrow is our alumni golf tournament, and we have 37 groups playing, so that's roughly probably 150 or more people at Tuscarora tomorrow, so another sellout. I want to thank Duke Whalen, and my wife Kathy Gilhenny for the work that they've put into this event, and I know there's a whole crew. There's a whole crew behind them that really make it work as well, so thank you to them too. A special welcome to Steve Schultz. I don't know where Steve is, but Steve Schultz, he will be the leader in our building, our principal for the next school year. So I just want to, Steve, if you don't know Steve is well connected in our athletic community. He shows a lot of enthusiasm, and we're looking forward to him leading our building next year. And to Bishop Lucia. Bishop Lucia is in the back sitting with us. Thank you, Bishop. We appreciate that you are able to get here with us. So I've welcomed all of you here. I do want you to know that the school, Steve Schultz and his team, they're back at school getting ready to welcome our students back. And that includes 140 kids that are coming over from Bishop Grimes to join our community. It really will change what Bishop Ludden Grimes will look like now. Having that many kids in our school, 370, hopefully we get to 400, but it changes the dynamics in our school. It changes what we can do academically. It changes what we can do in extracurricularly and athletically. So it's an important thing for our school. It's a tough thing for our school. There's a lot of work that needs to be done, and we need your support. We need your prayers. So please help us any way you can, but really support us and pray for us as we move into this next school year and get ready for our 370 kids that'll be starting in September. So with that, I'd like to introduce Father Dennis Walker. He's going to provide a blessing.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. We hear in St. Paul's first letter to the Corinthians, "Do you not know that the runners in the stadium all run the race, but only one wins the prize? Run so as to win. Every athlete exercises discipline in every way. They do it to win a perishable crown, but we an imperishable one. Heavenly Father, we give thanks and praise to you for your gifts, and we recognize that indeed all our blessings are a gift from you. As we recognize our inductees today, we give you thanks for their crowns their accomplishments that they made while at Bishop Ludden, our beloved school. As we celebrate them today, help us also to realize your desire for us to seek those crowns which are imperishable, the gifts of your Son, Jesus Christ. And we ask this through your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
we are going to get started. I know some of you may still be eating, but we're going to kick off our awards ceremony. So if I could have your attention. We have a couple of awards to give out, and then I'm going to hand it over to Pat Donnelly, our MC, to go through the presentations to the inductees. So, yeah, couple special awards today. The first award is the Scholar Athlete Award. It goes to our school's valedictorian, and it's Grace Olivia. So, Grace, if you could come up here. Congratulations, Grace. Our next award is the Monsignor Taylor Award. This award is presented in recognition of outstanding contributions to sports nationally, locally, or specifically to Bishop Ludden High School. And this year the award goes to Pat Casalia. Come on up, Pat.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
Okay, now for the Hall of Fame inductions, I'm going to kick it over to Pat Donnelly, our former basketball coach, class of 76, and our athletic director, Sean Smith.
Thanks, Dan. Some of you may or may not know, this is my second time as the MC of the Hall of Fame induction ceremony. The school did receive a few emails regarding my performance last year, and I wanted to share those with you. From a concerned alum, I really enjoyed the Hall of Fame dinner last year, and hopefully Donnelly is a one and done. From our local high school basketball referees, looks like Donnelly has found something else that he isn't good at. So with those testimonials and another lengthy list of people who are not available, I'm back. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the 2025 Bishop Ludden Athletic Hall of Fame induction ceremony. It is a great honor to be your host today. My name is Pat Donnelly, and I was a proud basketball coach here for 31 years. I would like to acknowledge some people in attendance today. One who's already been introduced is the Bishop of the Diocese of Syracuse, Bishop Douglas Lucia. Thank you, Bishop. Appreciate you being here. The next person is a person who was responsible for me getting the coaching job at Bishop Ludden. This coach, in my opinion, is one of the best coaches in New York State, Jerry Wilcox. I also want to recognize our current basketball coach, Gallagher Driscoll, who coached the team this year to an undefeated OHSL League championship and a Section 3 Class AAA sectional championship. I'm pretty sure that history was made with this, that we are the smallest school ever to win a sectional championship at the highest level. Congratulations to all. This one event, along with our golf tournament, has been the driving force for Bishop Ludden re-engaging with many of our alumni and families. It was the vision of our former AD, Gallagher Driscoll, and 74 grad Duke Whalen. Because of their efforts, we are here today. However, 5 years of being our Hall of Fame event chairman, Duke Whalen is stepping down. We extend our sincere gratitude for your dedicated service as event chairman for the Hall of Fame induction ceremonies. Your efforts were the backbone for the success of this event. Your hard work and leadership truly made this event special. Thank you, Duke. We will be forever grateful. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give Duke a round of applause. There will be a sign up in the lobby for someone who wants to take over as event chairman for next year. Please take your time to sign up for that. It was a great pride and excitement that we gather here today to induct the class of 2025. For over half a century, our school has been home to remarkable athletes, dedicated coaches, and unforgettable teams. Today, we honor their legacy and celebrate their contributions to our rich athletic history. And as you will see with the accomplishments of this class, the tradition of excellence continues. Quick reminder, there are no speeches, that's a good thing. After the video, please come up to have your picture taken and receive your gift from our athletic director, Sean Smith. All right, let's get started. Our first inductee played 3 years of varsity basketball, baseball, and also ran cross country. Was a 1970 graduate of Notre Dame University where he played baseball. Served in the U.S. Marine Corps, U.S. Senate Committee staff member, MIT Sloan Fellow, NASA Associate Administrator, Deputy NASA Center Director. From the class of 1966, Marty Kress.
My name's Marty Kress. I was in the first graduating class of Ludden, so I went there in 1963. I started on the varsity basketball and baseball team for 3 years, ran cross country for 2, made the football team my senior year, got a staph infection, and almost missed basketball season. I would say my mom was my first coach. So my mom was an athlete. And so whenever we were sitting around as kids, it was, let's go. You know, we'd either play catch or go down to the tennis courts and play tennis. Terry Quigley, the basketball coach, was the baseball coach at the start too. He actually recruited me to come to Ludden to be part of his dream to start, a dominant sports group out there. But Terry and I, our friendship never ended. So I think of Terry not only as a coach and a mentor, he's a lifelong friend and a big brother. Well, obviously, I played in the first ever game for the Ludden basketball team, and that's a story unto itself. The amount of promotion, the work that just went into scheduling it. We would be asked every day, Terry, the coach, would take a group of us down. We'd be interviewed. Now remember, I just turned 15. We were being interviewed by the Syracuse had 2 papers, the Post and the Herald Journal, one in the morning, one in the evening. Our pictures were in the paper every day of the week before the game. I mean, it was, and if you don't know, you're too young, the day of that first game, John Kennedy was assassinated. But that was the very, very first game. The place was packed. You had every priest in the diocese there, the bishop. This is a big deal, this new central diocesan school was going to take on CBA. And, we got whooped. But, for us, it was the adaptation came through conditioning and practice, and we could run faster than the other teams. We really passed the ball extremely well. So I think the conditioning and the coaching had a lot to do with it. Our confidence in each other grew and grew and grew. So starting off, freshmen and sophomores playing, we were beating varsity teams in the region. I think we had 7 wins my first year, and people were stunned. I was sitting in my homeroom senior year, and an announcement comes over the loudspeaker. Well, Marty Kress reports to the principal's office. And at the time, I didn't know where I was going to go to college. I'll be honest, no one in my family had ever left Syracuse. So I go down to the principal's office, and there's the principal, Father Taylor. There's Coach Quigley. And then there's a guy with hair whiter than mine now, impeccably dressed, and his name was Leo Kelly. And Mr. Kelly looked at me and he said, "You don't know me." He said, "But I've been watching you since you were a little boy. I came to this country with your maternal grandfather. And every year I pick one student in the region and I nominate that student for Father Hesburgh as a candidate to go to Notre Dame." He said, "I want you to be my candidate." It was a grand adventure because, again, my dad was a mailman. 2 days before I was supposed to leave, Terry Quigley shows up, drops off his car, so we had a car that could get to Indiana. There was this big cheer in the car because no one in my family had gone west to Buffalo. I look at me and I say, I was a good athlete that was made a better athlete at Bishop Ludden. But for me, this recognition is for the teams I played on, and the fact we were all willing to leave our little neighborhoods where we were the king of the hill, right? If I stayed at St. Anthony's, I would have been the leading scorer in school history. When I got to Ludden, I was happy if I got 10 points a game, right? It was a very different world, but I was so impressed with the quality of the people. And then again, as you know, Coach Quigley is a member of the Hall of Fame. So for me to be on a wall with teammates like that and with Coach Quigley is really a big deal. But it is for me more about that team, that camaraderie that we got out of it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Marty Kress.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Nice to meet you.
I guess he does work at NASA. He couldn't have gotten up here any quicker, could he? Our next inductee lettered in basketball, football, track and field, all CNYCL basketball, all CNYCL football, all CNYCL track and field. Finished fourth in 1971 in the New York State Long Jump Championship, 1971 Best Student Athlete, played basketball at Ithaca College, including the team MVP in 1972, for the class of 1971, Mark Ganley.
Well, I'm Mark Ganley. I was a student athlete at Bishop Ludden from 1967 to 1971. I participated in basketball, football, and track and field. Well, when Ludden opened its doors, we walked into the Central New York City's league, which by every measure was the premier scholastic, academic, athletic league in all of Central New York. And yeah, we were the smallest school by a mile, competing against the Corcorans, Nottinghams, and Pennigards, who had twice the enrollment we had. Obviously doesn't mean their players were twice as talented. It just meant from the pool of talent, they probably had twice as many. But you know what? At the end of the day, you can only field 5 basketball players at any given time. And given our training and background in Ludden, I would put our 5 basketball players up against anybody. You know, you got to compete against the best to become the best. And if you were to ask anybody from my era, they wouldn't change things for a bit. The highlight season was 70-71. We won the Diocesan championship at the War Memorial in 1971. I argued with myself. I was perhaps a better football player, but I enjoyed basketball the most. And I played basketball in college. Well, I played for a lot of great coaches, but my favorite go-to coach was Terrence Jude Quigley. Now, I had met Terry Quigley back in the early 60s, and I recall I had never met anyone with the high level of energy and enthusiasm and optimism as Terry Quigley. He taught us how to be winners, and I never forget that. We had some great players and some great shooters, and we were very successful, obviously well coached. And, you know, to this day, I cherish some of the memories I have with some of those players. I'm the third Ganley boy to graduate from Ludden, and all 3 of us played sports. So there was that 7-year window where my parents were fixtures in Ludden. All the athletic events, the smokers, the boosters, the athletic celebrations we had, they were always there. My dad was president of the Boosters Club for 2 years. I'm not sure how things are today, but our parents, you know, the Boosters Club, everybody was involved. All my classmates, teammates, their parents were involved in every aspect of our development through high school, and we really appreciated that. I mean, it was a family affair. We built that stadium in back of Ludden. We built the press box. After school, after work, with our parents. We did the bleachers. The Bishop Ludden experience for me was just wonderful. Every year, the teachers, the environment was just great. And for the kids, and my kids, I tell them, your high school years and your high school memories will become some of the best years, best memories of your life. So live it to the fullest.
Unfortunately, Mark is not able to join us today. Accepting on his behalf is Hall of Famer and classmate Mark McEnany. Our next member of the class of 2025 played varsity football and basketball, captain varsity football, first team CNYCL football defensive end 1973, second team Coaches Association All-Star offensive end 1973, post-standard player of the week, member of the 1974 sectional champion boys basketball team that was inducted last year, the class of 1974, John Cristoforetti.
My name is John Cristoforetti. I first started out at Bishop Ludden and graduated in 1974. I started out at freshman basketball. And then my sophomore year, I played football and basketball. And I continued that through my junior and senior years. I played football, basketball, and I played a little track also. My father was a very good athlete growing up in his era. I also had a brother a year and a half older. So between my father and my brother, we would play basketball against each other. We would be very competitive with each other. And I think that set me up to be prepared when I got into Ludden. I had, again, the most fortunate experience to play for the legendary Dave Didio. And Coach Dave Didio was one of the best coaches in Central New York, and he really taught us how to play football. He taught us what it meant to, give extraordinary effort, and motivated us. And he was just a tremendous coach. So I had him, along with Tom Landry, my junior and senior years. And then moving into basketball, I was again fortunate in the fact that my sophomore year, our JV year, we had Jerry Wilcox. And then when I moved to varsity, it was Terry Quigley. And then my senior year, Jerry Wilcox became the coach for our senior year. And what can you say about Coach Wilcox? He's the most legendary coach, best basketball coach in Central New York ever come out of Central New York. The student athletes that I was playing with, we kind of had, there wasn't a natural progression, at least for me, to go to that school. I chose to go to that school, and most of us did as well. So I think it was, we felt special, a special bond that we chose to go to this school. I think that gave us an edge. My senior year in football, it turned out to be a special season. We weren't very good. We ended up like 2-6 in the regular season. But both those wins were monumental in the fact that we beat CDA in the regular season. So that was, our arch rivals. And then the last game of the year was as equally monumental in the fact that we played West Hill. They were undefeated. And at that time, debate raged, what conference was better? What league was better, the City League or the County League? So here we go in one win in the season. We played West Hill undefeated, and It was a great game. Duke Whalen intercepted the pass, ran it all the way for a touchdown. We ended up winning that game. And to this day, bragging rights, and especially at that time, bragging rights of what league was actually better. I think there's like 8 to 10, at least, athletes that I went to school with in my 4 years that are in the Hall of Fame already, the Bishop Ludden Hall of Fame. So for me to be put in on that level with some of those players I played with, even though they were a couple of years ahead of me, a couple of years behind me, to be put on that level is just an incredible honor, humbling, and what else can you say? It's just incredible for me. And I can attribute that to my parents, supporting me all those years, my family. And then, like I said, I was just so fortunate to have the coaches, right? From, day one at Ludden, the coaches that were there, they're all in the Hall of Fame. The ones that I mentioned, Coach Landry, Coach Didio, Coach Wilcox, Coach Quigley, they're all there. And I had the opportunity to play for them all and learned a lot from them. And that's what helped me, reach my potential at Ludden.
Ladies and gentlemen, John Cristoforetti. Our next inductee played football and lacrosse, varsity football captain 1975, first team football all-league 1975, first team football all-CNY 1975, lacrosse co-captain 1975, led team to school's first undefeated lacrosse season 15-0, first team lacrosse all-league 1975, first team lacrosse all-CNY 1975, full athletic scholarship to Syracuse University. From the class of 1975, David Mulhern.
It's very nice to be here today, and I thank Bishop Ludden for honoring my younger brother David, who's no longer with us. As far as David goes, sitting here is bittersweet. Each of the three brothers that I've lost, they would be enjoying this honor for David. So once again, I thank Bishop Ludden for remembering David's accomplishments from a full 50 years ago. David was an excellent athlete in both lacrosse and football. It would have been 3, but unfortunately he stunk in basketball, and Jerry Wilcox cut him as a junior, recommending he focus on his other sports. That was wise advice, as often came from Jerry, and David did very well in the other 2. In football, he played with some very good players, Duke Whalen, who we all know so well, Matt Waddick, Gary Tack, each are previous honorees here in this Hall of Fame. They all played football together, and the team was very good. When David was a senior, I think they played 8 games. David was all-league, all-CNY, and he had over 100 tackles in 8 games, many sacks, and I think it was 4 interceptions. Lacrosse was not one of the original sports here at Ludden. I think it came into existence about 1970 or 71. And so that would be about the 8th year of Ludden's existence. And so many of the players, unless they came from the West Genesee district, hadn't played lacrosse before, and David was one of them. He picked up a lacrosse stick for the first time as a freshman, and by the time he was a junior, he was all-league. And when he was a senior, he was not only all-league, but he was all-Central New York, as he was in football, and received 2 different athletic scholarships, full athletic scholarships, one to North Carolina State and one to Syracuse. He went on to Syracuse and started for 3 years there in their midfield, and they had some success. So that many years ago, he had a very nice career, and it was really fun to watch. Everyone who has been honored in years past or will be honored in the future were excellent athletes. What separates people aren't the baskets they score or the goals or even the wins. They'll be forgotten in most every case, but people remember the relationships they formed at Ludden. They remember their teammates. Just a couple days before he died, 2 teammates that lived in Boston drove 10 hours to spend 10 minutes with him to say goodbye. And that made an impression on my sisters and I. You don't see that type of friendship 45 years or so after their last game. How you make your teammates feel is so much more important than the baskets you made or the goals you scored. I thank Ludden for honoring him. It's been a pleasant journey for my sisters and I as we've researched this.
Sadly, David passed away in 2012, much too soon. Accepting his award on his behalf is David's son, Adam Mulhern. Our next inductee wrestled and played lacrosse while at Bishop Ludden. Varsity overall wrestling record, 106 wins and 12 losses. Third place, 1976 New York State Championship. Second place, 1977 New York State Championship. 3-time CNYCL League Champion, 2-time Section 3 Champion. Third team, 1977 All CNYCL Lacrosse, 1977 Section 3 Lacrosse All-Star Game. For the class of 1977, John Elmer.
I'm John Elmer, and I was at Ludden from 1973 to 1977, and I wrestled and played lacrosse. I always enjoyed playing sports, and I had 4 brothers, and so we always were playing something. And the brother right above me started wrestling for West Tennessee, and I went to a meet, and I loved it, and so I wanted to start wrestling. And I went to West Tennessee, and that's a big lacrosse school as well, so right away in 7th grade, I started playing that. My lacrosse season was a lot of fun. We had a fun team. We had some great coaches, Coach McInerney and Coach Canale, and we were good. We got into the sectional finals against West Tennessee my junior year, and that was a pretty big deal. You know, when I first started wrestling at Bishop Ludden, John Allen was a coach. He was a new coach, came down from Syracuse University. He was the captain of the team the year before, and he really pushed me. He saw something in me. He was a great coach, but pushed me hard and really gave me an idea that I could be really good at this. And then my junior year, he left, and Joe Kimball, who at Syracuse University football, Coach Schwarzenegger said he was the toughest guy I ever met, pound for pound. And he just drilled into me tough and be in shape better than anybody else. And he really helped me excel that junior year into the States, because I was in better shape than anybody, because Joe Kimball would have it no other way. At wrestling, we didn't get big crowds, but the great thing, more like when I was a junior and senior, a lot of my friends would come for the match, and they'd come in and they'd start chanting, Elmer, 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 and they get louder and faster until I took the guy down. And so I had to be super aggressive, or these guys would have been on me for not taking the guy down right away. So maybe that made me a more aggressive wrestler. In my junior year, our wrestling team actually won the CNY Cities League, and we ended up finishing second in the whole section. Rance Davis also won the sections that year. And so it was the only year Bishop Ludden had sectional champs, except for my next year, were on that one year. So it was a good year. My involvement in sports at Ludden helped me understand that hard work paid off, and it was good to have a goal and press towards it. And so that really helped in sports. In being a student at Ludden, just being around some of the atmosphere, and right before my senior year, I ended up having this deep encounter with Jesus, and which changed my life. And I actually ended up being a pastor and for 40 years at the Vineyard Church. And so that beginning of that deep relationship happened while I was at Bishop Ludden. There's so many people to thank for this honor of being in the Hall of Fame, but I think of my mom, who brought me to all the practices, and my dad, who kind of pressed me always to work hard. I had some great coaches, Mike Massera at Washington DC, and Joe Kimball and John Allen, and Coach Canale and McAfee. I mean, just great coaches and some great people in my life that supported me and encouraged me and pushed me to get up when I got knocked down.
Ladies and gentlemen, John Elmer. Our next inductee played softball, soccer, basketball, and indoor track, was the 1982 Principals Trophy winner, MVP and captain girls softball, all CNY girls softball, honorable mention 1979, second team 1980, first team 1981 and 82, CNYCL league champion 1981 and 82, section 3 champion 1981, Onondaga Community College all-region first team, Onondaga Community College all-region tournament team. From the class of 1982, Patty Romano Marshall.
Commitment, dedication, working hard. You need to have all those three things, and that's what I carried on from Bishop Ludden, and also my faith, and just thankful for all of that. I loved being one of the younger ones on the team because I learned so much from older teammates. I looked up to them because to me they were like, wow, they're so good, and made me work harder, want to do better, be like them, be better than them. The coach that really inspired me and made me a better player was Dan Craver. He knew how to make you work hard. He always made you want to do better the next time, and I looked forward to practices and learning and growing, and he knew how to have a good time as well as being a really good coach that you would look up to and admire. My junior year, as playing on the basketball team, a memory there was we were playing Nottingham, and they were the sectional champs and the state champs the year before, and they were the team to beat. I think they only lost one game that season, and we were playing against them, and we were down by 1 point, and I think it was less than a minute left, and I got fouled, and I had to make my foul shots, and I made both of them. So we were up by 1, and then I got fouled again, and I was put to the line again, and I made both my foul shots, so we beat them, and that was just a great feeling because Felicia Leggett was on that team. And the most memorable is softball. Our senior year, we had great teams every year in softball. I played all 4 years, but we made it to the sectional finals, and both teams were very competitive. Again, it was 0-0, and it was the bottom of the 7th, and we played against Holland Patton, and they got on base, and she ended up in a rundown between third and home, and the ball was being thrown to me, and the ball hit the girl's helmet, went flying, and she scored, and we lost. So it wasn't the ending we wanted, but it was an incredible season, an incredible memory, and you have to deal with adversity, and that's part of life, the highs and the lows and the wins and the losses, but overall that was a winning team, and it was a great memory. Well, first I would like to thank, of course, my parents. They brought up 6 children. I'm number 5 out of 6. I have 3 older brothers, an older sister and a younger sister, and they've supported me my whole life. And I just thank my family. It's such an honor and humbling to be asked or to be inducted with this elite group. And there's so many good athletes out there. There's so many, and I know there's a lot more better than me. And, I'm just so thankful that I was asked to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, and it's an amazing feeling.
Now, as she comes up, today is Patty's birthday. So let's sing happy birthday to Patty. I'm not starting it either. Day to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Patty. Happy birthday to you. I'm a football player.
Thank you very much.
If you're not sure what Patty meant by that, check out her bio in the program. It has her listed as a football player also, so she was a trailblazer. Just to take a side note here, a couple of the people that came to support Patty today are very good friends of mine, Carol and Tom Fletcher. Carol is Patty's cousin. Tom is a Greater Syracuse Sports Hall of Fame member for baseball, basketball, and golf. A member of the Lemoyne College Hall of Fame for basketball and baseball. However, Tom was a graduate of CBA. And for him to sit through a Ludden Hall of Fame induction is probably the equivalent of serving time in Attica. Those at the table, please be on alert because Tom may spontaneously combust at any minute, and you're lucky you weren't here last year because we inducted the 74 team. Our next inductee was a standout basketball player, Bishop Ludden. Probably one of the best athletes to ever wear a Ludden basketball uniform. Second team All-CNY, first team All-County selection, second team All-New York State, ranked in top 30 small forwards in the United States, league and sectional champion, received invitations from prestigious 5-star and ABCD camps, which are the elite programs for top prospects in the country. From the class of 1985, Randy Jones.
My name's Randolph Jones, and I played basketball at Bishop Ludden High School. I played 83, 84, and 85. I always got picked first in sports because I was always the fastest and could jump the highest and was the most athletic. And so it was just natural. It just seemed like where I fit in was always in sports. When I got to Ludden, I moved fresh from Colorado. So I was in Colorado, and then I went to Henniger just to finish out the year, going into sophomore year. And then my brother was like, let's go check out Jerry Wilcox. And so we went up to Ludden and checked him out, and we talked and everything like that. And I decided to join the programs. And so he kind of guided me over there, and the rest is a wrap. Everybody was always so kind to me at Ludden. You could probably count the black people there on one hand, but never, experienced any racism whatsoever. We had a really super tight class too. I had the best times of my life at Bishop Ludden, to be honest. Jerry Wilcox was like the mystery guy, kept everybody on their toes. The guy was special, man. Jerry Wilcox, I really love the guy, man. He is awesome. He knew how to get the most out of me. He would always say to me, like whether it was Empire State Games or, some all-star team or whatever he was coaching, he'd always say, send him a message, Randy. He just had me ready to go to the moon and back. So he's a fantastic guy, man. On my sophomore year, we're coming down on a fast break. It's a 1-point game. There's like maybe a minute left. So time's ticking, and we got an out of bounds play, and the ball gets put in bounds. And mind you, we're playing against Richard McCormick. We're playing against Ernest Ray, like Michael Cooper. So Henniger had like 3 or 4 Division I players. The ball gets inbounded, they throw it to me, I take one dribble, one step, and I jump over Ernest Ray and dunk the out of the ball. Coach Rizzi is screaming, the Bear is going crazy, the fans are like ready to run out onto the court, and they call it offensive foul. So going back the other way, I look at it all the time, it wasn't a charge, you know, so it's the one piece of film that I got, and you know, I smashed it on this guy. Everybody went nuts. They call offensive foul. People running on the court. I just used to really, really try and bury Henniger. Being inducted, it really means everything to me. The closeness of our class, the years we spent together. I can still remember, you know, our gyms being packed out, you know, standing room only, hearing everybody cheer when I broke down the baskets, and, you know, all the wins we had. And I really want to thank my mom. My mother was my #1 fan. She never missed a game, always showed up, was always there. And, you know, she's no longer with us. She passed in 2016, but she was my rock. You know, I want to thank my brother Max too. You know, he's the one who had the sight to say, you know, Jerry Wilcox would be good for you. So those two. I want to thank my mom, and I want to thank my brother Max, and being inducted to Bishop Ludden Hall of Fame means everything to me. I mean, it is the ultimate honor.
Ladies and gentlemen, Randy Jones. Just to follow up on what Randy talked about in his video, and it's very humbling, and it's not easy for me to talk about, but in 1985, I was coaching East Syracuse Minoa, where we drew Ludden in the first round of the sectionals. Well, Dave Didio, who was the athletic director then, made some signs up, welcome back, Pat, and so on. A really nice gesture. Anyway, we line up for the opening tip, and I know exactly what they're going to do. I've seen them do it, so we had it all scouted out. Ball goes up. Randy tips the ball out to Pat Driscoll. We screwed up right away, weren't covering him. Randy flares out wide, right in front of me, and he's going like this. Now, I'm pretty sure that's the international sign for welcome back, Pat, watch this. So I went into my coaching bag of tricks, and I go, uh-oh. So Pat Driscoll throws him a perfect alley-oop right on the money, and we had a player back to play defense. This kid was like a 95 average. All of a sudden, he just starts walking opposite from the basket. I asked him later, I go, what are you doing? He goes, Coach, I was not going to be on the front page of the sports page getting dunked on. So this is where the things slow down like the Zapruder film. The player that I put back on defense is gone. We knew already Randy was going. We already knew we screw up by not matching up with Pat Driscoll. So Pat Driscoll throws this perfect alley-oop. Randy gets it and goes, ba-boom! I look down, my entire bench is applauding and high-fiving. I said, this is going to be a long night. So that was my introduction to playing against Randy Jones. Before we introduce our next inductee, I would like to ask all of the current members of the Bishop Ludden Hall of Fame who are in attendance to please stand. Our next inductee, had the privilege of coaching both of her brothers. Kevin was a very good football and, he's a very good football player. He played basketball. He made 1 3 in his life, and he made sure that I knew it. He pointing to me. But he played football at Gannon. Her brother Brian was a very good basketball player and an outstanding golfer. Listen to these stats, boys. 30-time Principal Trophy recipient, 2000, 2001, 2002. Finished her basketball career with 1,098 points. First team All-League, 2000, 2001, 2002. All CNY Basketball Honorable Mention, 2000. All CNY Basketball Third Team, 2001. All CNY Basketball First Team, 2002. Class B Basketball Co-Player of the Year, 2001. Girls Basketball New York State 8th Team. Honorable Mention All-League in Soccer. Girls League Catholic Son Player of the Year 2002. Syracuse Diocese Western Region Top Female Athlete 2002. From the class of 2002, Caitlin Conboy.
My name is Caitlin Conboy. I attended Bishop Ludden from 1996 to 2002, and I played soccer, basketball, and lacrosse. I come from a big sports family, so I have 2 older brothers who both also attended Bishop Ludden, and they played all kinds of sports, basketball, soccer, golf, lacrosse. I was always trying to keep up with them, and so I think that's kind of what sparked my interest. And my dad was always kind of out in the driveway or in the front yard playing with us too, and he actually was my first coach for Camillus Optimus basketball and coached me for a few years. And also my mom worked at Ludden for I think 13 years. Growing up, I could not wait to go to Ludden. We were just always there between hanging with my mom while she was at work or going to my brother's games. And this probably sounds so silly, but when I was a little kid, little girls play dress up, and I didn't dress up like a princess. I dressed up in Ludden hand-me-downs, and I would pretend I was doing the layup lines. I just could not wait to go to Ludden. The biggest time that sticks out to me was after the class of 1999 graduated. There were a lot of really amazing athletes in that class. I just remember that summer going into that 1999-2000 school year, kind of, all of my teammates for both soccer and basketball getting together all the time. And it felt really special. It was like, this is our time now. But I did have a lot of great coaches, Mr. P, Mr. Casalia for soccer, Mr. Rogers, and then Coach Lighton and Coach Tack for lacrosse. And they, I think one thing that was consistent with all of them were, they really expected a lot from us, both on and off the field. But I'd have to say, Mr. Rogers especially, just, again, even before I started attending Bishop Ludden, I kind of already knew him and had a relationship with him and knew I wanted to play basketball for him. And, went to his basketball camps when I was younger. And so I just, he really helped me a lot. Just always pushing me further and further. And, I think we were able to achieve some really great things. I mean, Bishop Ludden is such a special place. It really is hard to even put into words. I think the things that I find important are hard work, consistency, that sense of community, and really having your, fellow teammate or classmate or teacher, whoever, having their back. And I think that because Bishop Ludden is such a special community, I really learned that from an early age when attending school there. Being inducted into the Bishop Ludden Hall of Fame is, it's just unbelievable. From an early age, could not wait to play sports at Ludden. and never would have dreamed that it would have resulted in something like this. And I'm just so honored because there's so many amazing athletes that are already in the Hall of Fame, and I know more to come soon. But yeah, I'm so grateful that my parents, sent me and my brothers to Bishop Ludden. I know it was a lot of sacrifice for them. Driving all three of us around to practices and traveling for games. And, I know it was a lot of hard work, and I just could never ever thank them enough. And, also wanted to thank my brothers for never ever taking it easy on me in the driveway when we were playing basketball. They definitely never let me win. I think it helped in the end. It made me a little bit tougher maybe, but without their support as well, I could never have done what I was able to do at Ludden.
Ladies and gentlemen, Caitlin Conboy. See, an athlete.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, Coach. You're the best.
Great job. And to keep on that topic, she's a lot better looking than you two are also. Our next inductee, mother went to Bishop Ludden, was a cheerleader. Her dad was an outstanding player in the parochial league. She played lacrosse and basketball while at Ludden. In basketball, team captain 2003 and 2004. All-league honorable mention 2003. Most valuable player 2004. In lacrosse, team captain 2004. Second team all-league 2001. First team all-league 2002, 2003, and 2004. All CNY honorable mention 2004. Went on to a stellar career playing lacrosse at Lemoyne College. Team captain 2008. Defensive player of the year 2006, 2007, and 2008. MAC All-Conference second team 2006. MAC All-Conference team 2007. MAC All-Academic team 2007. Played on 2 MAC League and Conference Tournament Championship teams, and played on 2 NCAA tournament teams. From the class of 2004, Beth Sirotnik-Zisk.
My first season as a varsity lacrosse player came when I was in 8th grade. The excitement of learning a new sport that I was quickly falling in love with, and having the opportunity to be part of a program that was just beginning to grow was pretty cool. My teammates and I faced a lot of challenges throughout basketball and lacrosse seasons, and at times it wasn't always easy, but the one thing that we carried through with us and learned from was that we had to face each challenge in life with commitment, determination, and grace. What made us special was that we simply believed in ourselves. We were always faced many times with stronger teams, ones that had more players with more experience, but what really set us apart was that we fully believed in ourselves. We approached every game, every competition, as if it was the championship and we were going to win. I was fortunate to have many great coaches at Ludden, all who have taught me different aspects of the game. Mike Rogers and Dick Litton, they both saw something special in me at a young age and took a chance on me. Gary Tack and Dan Hallinan, they reminded me that yes, it's important to work hard, but it's also important to have a whole lot of fun with your teammates. The academics and athletics at Bishop Ludden truly played a big part in my life. The athletics, as far as lacrosse, it opened up the doors for me to have the opportunity to play competitively at Lemoyne College, their Division I women's lacrosse program, where I had the chance to travel the country, play ranked teams, compete in an NCAA tournament against Duke. And without my experience at Bishop Ludden, that would not have been possible. I would like to thank my family, especially my parents. My dad was my first basketball coach. He was always willing and eager to give me advice and work on my skill. My mom, she was my rock. She provided me with consistent encouragement and guidance throughout my career. Any challenges that I faced on and off the field or court, she was right there helping me navigate it. By far have amazing parents, and my lacrosse career at the collegiate level and then basketball and lacrosse at Ludden would not have been the same without them coming to every single game, cheering as loud as they could. Their support meant everything to me. Being inducted today is a tribute to all those who have helped me along the way in my career, and for those that support women in sports and a Catholic education. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, best Sratnik Zisk. So, John, you were best first basketball coach? No wonder you could excel at lacrosse. You knew that was coming. Our final individual inductee today was a coach at Bishop Ludden for 40 years. School's winningest soccer coach, 530 wins, 11 OHSL League championships, NSCAA Regional Coach of the Year 2016, New York State Public High School Athletic Association Private and Parochial Coach of the Year 1996, 2009, and 2016, NSCAA New York State Coach of the Year 2016, CNY Coach of the Year, National Award, 2019 High School Coach of Significance, New York State Public High School Athletic Association Final Four participant, and finally a member of the SUNY Oneonta Hall of Fame. Ladies and gentlemen, Oscar Vergara.
I'm originally from Colombia, South America. And at the age of 16, I lost my mom. And so I sort of started heading the wrong way. And my old soccer coach, Coach Paz, he sort of took me under his wings. He became my mentor. And I owe to him what I am today. I remember coming in here March 5th, 1971, as a student. I was afraid. I was afraid to even walk from the main office to the cafeteria because I didn't know anybody, and I did not know the language, and it was really hard for me to, I walked around with a little piece of paper, go to room 104, go to 215. We had a game at Clinton. It had to be known as probably the longest game ever played. We went to 2 overtimes, and then we went to 18 penalty kicks. With one of our players, we have to put him in because we could not have players repeat the penalty kick. So we put in this 8th grader who, when he went on the field, their fans started chanting, "Hey kid, put your diaper on right," and whatever. So he very, very calm, he was just so cool. He stepped up to the ball, hit it, up for 90, and then he looked at the crowd and said, now what? 8th grader named Vic Petrera. He changed the outcome of soccer at Bishop Ludden High School. We have been very blessed here at Ludden that we've gotten throughout the years very, very good ball players who then transmit their style of play onto the other players. I remember one of my players, Steve Antuna, he was hiding under the bench. Don't pick me, coach, don't pick me, coach. And again, this kid Vic, he was just an 8th grader. Oh, it was amazing. He's still an amazing guy today. He's probably one of the best well-known coaches around here. He's taken his team to all over the states to different tournaments. I would hope that someday they can look back and say, you know what? Coach V taught me this, sportsmanship and fair play. I always tell my players that a big task, a big quality for one to have as a coach, to be able to transmit that information to the players. obviously you want them to emulate you and be like you. And so I try to provide a good example for them. Yeah, one yellow card in 43 years. Nothing but great memories here.
Ladies and gentlemen, Coach Oscar Vergara. Our final inductee today is a team induction. This year we are proud to induct the 1994 New York State champion boys basketball team. The 94 team finished with a record of 24-4, school record for most wins in a single season, 24, 1994 OHSL League champions, 1994 Section 3 champions, 1994 New York State Public High School Athletic Association regional champions, 1994 New York State Public High School Athletic Association state champions. This team was led by co-captains Stephen Fonny and Chris Corcoran. Also standouts Final Four MVP Max Stroman and Final Four All-Tournament team member Jason Thomas. They were the second team to win a state championship 25 years after the legendary 1969 Green Machine team. Ladies and gentlemen, the 1994 New York State champion boys varsity basketball team.
You know, I think one thing that allowed us to compete against better competition in bigger schools is that we were well coached and we were well prepared. And I think anytime you go into a game knowing the plan and you feel prepared, I think you're able to perform at your best. You know, that year, 93, 94, we went to the state Final Four, and, you know, while we were getting ready to play in Glens Falls, we were scrimmaging the two other Section 3 teams that were alive. Hamilton with Donald Foyle, who went on to play in the NBA, and West Genesee, who's obviously a much bigger school. And so we scrimmaged them. A few of the scrimmages happened here at Bishop Ludden. And, you know, I think Coach Donnelly deserves a lot of credit for what we did that year, that 93, 94 season, really my entire career. But, you know, we're specifically talking about, you know, that year. And I think that he had a way of bringing out the best in us. You know, one thing about that team, I think we definitely are proof that, you know, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. You know, we had a lot of really good players. I wouldn't say that we had any superstars, and I think we all knew our role and we all did it to the best of our ability. And again, that goes back to Coach Donnelly knowing what positions to put people in, knowing how to pull the right strings. I mean, you know, I was a point guard for my first 3 years, and then my senior year when we won the state title, I still played a little point, but I played more shooting guard that year, and that was a case of Coach Donnelly seeing what the team needed, you know, and asking me, okay, can you do this role, and me accepting that. And I think we had that across the board. And it goes back to the teamwork piece of it. We all knew our role, and by then, you know, late in the season, we had kind of, you know, refined and perfected those roles, and we felt like we could play with and beat anybody around, regardless of the size of school.
We're here to celebrate the 1994 state championship team, so obviously that season was very memorable. We just had 12 great guys on that team and 3 great coaches who all just, you know, sacrificed a lot to become a really good team and accomplish, you know, a really great state championship. There weren't a lot of egos on the team. They really weren't allowed. Coach Donnelly did such a great job with his leadership of letting everybody know, hey, you have to sacrifice parts of your game for us to be really good as a team. And to a man, everybody, you know, understood that and accepted it. There were guys on our team that could have started on any other team in the area. They were good enough, but they were asked to come off the bench, and they were fantastic basketball players. We were just very lucky to have a really good group of selfless guys all pulling together for one goal. So I think that's what made that team really special. Our practices were dogfights. The second team did not want to give an inch to the first team and vice versa. Our practices were so much tougher than the games. And that's something Coach Donnelly would constantly talk about. Guys, we have to be tougher in practice than it is. A game, he looked at a game as like a day off or a scrimmage. It should be easier for you in a game than it is in practice. And honestly, that was the truth. We knew we were good. We won a lot of games that year, but having gone through what we did in '93 to get so close, and then just to have it, you lose and you're one game away from Glens Falls. I think the big relief and the big acknowledgement came when we were, in Glens Falls and we were able to celebrate the championship. We thought we were heroes. In our minds, we were heroes, right? We still had to go to math class at the first period on Monday, and obviously we thought we were pretty great. I think our parents and teachers kind of put us back in our place pretty quickly. So it's a great honor to be inducted into the Bishop Ludden Hall of Fame. And it's a great honor to go in with my 11 teammates and 3 coaches that I'm going in with. I think that makes it all the more special. We accomplished something that's really hard to do. I mean, I don't think people understand how hard it is to win a state championship. And I think I can speak for the entire team, is that we would just like to thank our coaches, Coach Donley, Swanee, and Coach Ryan. They were great that year. I think what we all took away was probably that there's no shortcut to success. Right, you have to work hard. You have to put in the work, and to get better. And if you don't, right, you don't deserve what you're working for. Right, if you're not willing to sacrifice for it.
First, I'd like to bring forward our 2 assistant coaches, John Hayes and Marty Ryan. So John Hayes had just had surgery, and he told Peter Ganley when he was going to have the surgery he was going to have an ankle transplant. Coach Ganley immediately asked him, "Whose ankle are you getting?" But he had an ankle replacement, and he seems to be doing a lot better. So a quick Marty Ryan story. Every year when you coach, you had to take CPR and first aid. So we're doing that, so we're sitting there, and the Red Cross brings in resuscitation Annie and everything, puts them in front of us. So Marty's up next. You have to go over and pump all kinds. Marty, being a funeral director, walks over, takes out his business card, throws it down, and goes, "This is a conflict of interest." The Red Cross director looked at him like, "What the hell is this guy doing?" So that was Ludden. Let me introduce the members of the 1994 team. Not all the players were able to make it back for this honor, but there are quite a few. Those in attendance, please come forward when your name is called. Stephen Fani, Chris Corcoran, Chris Pietrzyk, Mike Davitt, Mark Stokowski, Jamie Byrne, Max Stroman, Jason Thomas, Rob Wood, Chris Campolita, Jake Stroman, and Nick Cream. I wish I could read you the resumes of some of these players and how very successful they have been since graduating from Bishop Ludden. I'm very proud of all of them. Today we added 10 more individuals and a team to the Bishop Ludden Athletic Hall of Fame. Let us remember that these individuals and teams embody the spirit of Bishop Ludden. Their dedication, sportsmanship, and love for the game have left a legacy. May their stories inspire future generations of Ludden athletes. Let's continue the work of the Hall of Fame and let it be a beacon of pride, reminding us of the tradition of excellence of Bishop Ludden High School. Congratulations to the inductees, and may their names echo through time. If I could just ask all the current Hall of Fame members and the new Hall of Fame members, we want to meet over here. They'd like to get a picture of all those inductees. I want to thank everyone for coming out today. Thank you very much, and go Ludden.